What's going on, people? So, I got a handful of Asics reviews to work through today, so we're on video number 3 for this fine Sunday morning. So, down here, side of the box and all that good stuff, right? Kind of gives you an idea of what we're looking at. But I guess the thumbnail probably gave you that also, didn't it? And the description or title, whatever you want to call it. But either way, it's a trail shoe because I do like my trail shoes, and I do have another pair that I'll be talking about in a moment here. It may come out in this video as well. Maybe, maybe not. Haven't figured that out yet. I'll get to it when I get to it. This right here is the Asics Gel-Nimbus 24 Trail in some kind of green and orange colorway. The colorway is usually written on the side of the box, but I didn't really do a whole lot of homework on these to include reading the side of the box, so just take that for what it's worth. Now, let's go ahead and look at the bottom of these things. Down there, what you're looking at on the bottom is a pretty decent outsole, nothing too crazy about it, but the one thing I'll throw out there right now, because again, I'm not going to go into full in-depth review mode or whatever, just going to hit the highlights, right? So one of the things down there about this whole outsole, right, you do have this AHAR technology. I can't remember what it is, but it's basically like a more durable rubber, similar to how Continental was on like the bottom of all the Ultra Boosts for a long time. It's like that, right? It gives it something else down there, so that way when you're out there on the trails, you have some extra traction and durability and all that good stuff, which is going to be something you need, right? And from what I saw of pictures, that same material is on the bottom of the standard Nimbus 24s as well. So if it sounds like a good idea, but you're not sure you really need a trail shoe, you should be able to get that same experience on something else, right? Over on up here to the midsole, as you see, it's nothing too crazy. It looks a lot like your standard Asics midsole for like a running shoe or whatever. So there's that, which is a good thing because I think it has a good look to it, right? Now, I will cover something real quick here. So on here, on the inner side, right, it does say IGS, which stands for Impact Guidance System. So basically it's just like a bunch of stuff in here that's working all together to help your foot do whatever your foot needs to do, right? For the given sport. So in this case, running is the sport you'd be doing, so it works together to make sure your foot is guided in the right ways and all that stuff. So it seems like it's a cool thing. You won't really notice it unless you're running, so if you're just buying these for walking, I guess ignore all that, because it doesn't really matter a whole lot. Either way, so some other thing on there, you do have the Flight Foam Blast Plus, right, which is basically a better version of the past foam, which is why the plus is there, right? I think they start with Flight Foam, then there's the Flight Foam Blast. I believe there's also Turbo. But either way, this one, it's kind of like a squishy-ish sort of thing, kind of, depending on how much they put in there or whatever. But either way, that's what's going on down there, right? So there's that. Here's some other pictures because other pictures are often helpful. In this case, they're mostly just going to show you the same thing that you've already seen, but from more of a top looking down sort of view, right? And so from that angle, you can kind of see a little bit more that you may not have seen, or at least you'll see it clearer because the picture isn't moving, unlike me while I'm sitting here moving this shoe back and forth between my hands because I got nothing else to do. So either way, let's move along past that. I don't think there's a whole lot else to really say because I don't think there's a whole lot else to say. These are old, right? This is a 24. The 25 came out like in May, I want to say. So if anything, you can find these on a decent discount, but giving you the whole breakdown as if it's new, I don't think I need to do that. There's plenty of them out there on the internet, I'm sure. But one thing I do like about it, down there on the inside, they have that, whatever that thing is. It's just kind of a cool look. And they do actually have that, and I guess I'm bringing out the old, what is it, the Nova Blast 3. They have that on these Nova Blast 3s as well. So I guess that must be some sort of trail thing. Kind of like how when you look at the inside of these, they have that eco thing, right? I learned that during Earth Day last year, or the previous year. I don't know, someday, or some year. Either way, let's move on. I'm going to get you some personal thoughts, then we'll wrap up with some sizing. Personally, as a fan of trail shoes, I really like these because for one, they fit all the stuff that they should fit, right? Like you got the extra stuff on the outsole, so that's cool. They kind of have like that rugged look and everything. Wearing them, I feel like I've got some decent stability in there when I'm walking, so like all this traction nonsense that they're talking about and all their little press releases for this AHAR and whatever. Yeah, it seems like these are going to work out very well. I haven't put them to the test just yet, honestly, but I'll do some sort of follow-up whenever that happens and let you guys know, because I can't just leave you in the dark now, can I? Well, I can, but I won't. Either way. So moving on past that, just taking these all in, even just as like even if they weren't a trail shoe or whatever, I still just like the look of it. I like this sort of green and with like a little bit of orange on the bottoms and all that good stuff. It's not like too much, but it's just enough to break everything up. So yeah, these came out pretty nicely in my opinion. And I think that anybody who's considering buying these, maybe you've seen the pictures online or whatever, they match up exactly to me. So I think if you liked what you saw on the internets, then you'll probably like what you get in hand. So go ahead and buy them, right? Besides, they're probably on sale again because the 25s should be out now. A 25 trail version. I don't know if they do have one or not, but if not, it should be coming soon. So that's going to be it for me as far as like the personal thoughts, whatever. Overall, thumbs up, right? So that's pretty cool, right? Now, a lot of things have been said, but none of them really about the sizing. So let's go ahead, we'll talk about some sizing, then I will be done with this particular review. Sizing wise, right? I bought these in a 9.5, and the reason I did that, much like every other time, is because most things that I've bought tend to fit true to size. These, they do as well, right? They are a fairly narrow type build, but I mean you could probably tell that just by looking at them or whatever. So if you happen to have a wider foot or whatever, I would say look back at the Asics site, because I don't know if it's all their shoes or most of their shoes, but I can definitely say a lot of their shoes do come in like the wide format or whatever, so you can look for the one that actually says wide on it and just go in there and get you some 4E shoe or whatever, which sounds crazy to me, but they put it out there for a reason, right? Don't want to leave people excluded, and I get that. Past that though, as far as like the midsole and all that good stuff, I can't really say too much about walking around on these compared to a standard 24 because I don't have one. But from what I'm gathering and just from how I've seen other things work out, I think that you'd be pretty good wearing a standard 24, wearing these trail ones. You can feel like, you know, the extra like grip on the bottom or whatever because that's how these are made, right? And I think the only real difference would be that each step would just feel a little flatter, right? Because this is made for weird terrain and such, right? So I think that, long story short, if you buy a pair of these, expect good things. If you're running in these though, they are kind of squishy, at least compared to the Kayanos, which is why I prefer the Kayanos. I like this more stable feel than the squishy feel. So there is that. Walking, you don't really notice that difference so much. And then as far as the upper goes, the upper is solid. I mean, it's like this typical knitted sort of thing that you've probably seen on a million other running shoes. So if you're into it, you should be into these, right? If that's not your style, maybe try something else. But I think that all around, this is a pretty nice feeling shoe. So that's it for me as far as the sizing and whatnot. Take it, leave it, do whatever. Doesn't really matter. I've already put it out there, so I've done my part. That means I get to move on to video number 4, whichever one that is. Which, yeah, that's going to be this one. So, from me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are. I'm going to talk about these for a little bit and then talk about those, or those right there. Later, people.